How's it going? This is Practical Wellness Radio, and we're fired up today. We have Cassandra Dick, owner of Pure Grit Fitness, on the podcast, and Cody and I are lucky enough to sit down and talk to her. She has an amazing, kind of unique product that is that's perfect for the fitness industry. And her product is called the Grit Stick. We're gonna kind of just tease it like that. You'll have to listen to our conversation with Cassandra to kind of get her take and her exact kind of explanation of what the product is and what the product offers. And we also talk about, all the trials and tribulations that she has to go through to get this product up off the ground when it just started as kind of just a thought in her head. And we commend her. I think she's done an amazing job to, blow through all those roadblocks that, starting your own business and developing a unique product can present. And so hope you guys enjoy this conversation with Cassandra. All right, here we go. And we're on with Cassandra Dick. Cassandra, thanks for joining us. And I just want to kind of hit the ground running right away. You're an entrepreneur. You have a pretty cool product. I can't introduce it as well as you can. So can you tell us about your business and maybe your product and kind of what it is?
Yeah, for sure. And first of all, I just want to thank the two of you for having me on here. It's such an honor to be here, and I love the podcast that you got going on. So super excited to be here. My name is Cassandra, and I am the creator of the Grit Stick. The Grit Stick is your own personal portable chalk dispenser. So it is, so you never have to worry about going chalkless again at the gym, or so you're not making a huge, I know Cody is a coach. Ted, are you a coach as well?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Okay. So
Ted
for
used to
anybody
own
that
a gym
uses
as
gym
well.
chalk, Oh, okay. Awesome. So, getting gym chalk all over the floor and you having to clean it up. And so it's a very convenient way to keep the gym cleaner, it's more sanitary way. And so you're not having to carry around like a Ziploc baggie or a, Tupperware container full of chalk. And then the other end, it's a dual-ended compartment. So the other end is just an open space for you to put those loose items that often get lost in your gym bag, like chapstick or keys, your headphones, even, post-workout you could put in there. So it's just a convenient thing that you can travel with if you go to, if you're a person that kind of gym hops or you travel a lot, you're an athlete that travels a lot. So that is essentially what the Grit Stick is.
Yeah, and I have a couple. You were kind enough to sponsor our event at the Iowa City Weightlifting Summit. And then you were kind enough to give me one as well for my home gym. And I think it's one of the best things that I have in terms of keeping my gym clean. And I don't know if Ted, did you mop the gym in Fort Collins?
Yeah, I did. So yeah, I did. We had a cleaning crew that came in every weekend and mopped, and then I tried to do like spot mopping like throughout the week. Also, when somebody did drop their chalk on the ground, right? You always try your best to clean it up or whatever. And I got one at the event also. So I have one kind of in my garage gym now, and I kind of just went the last year or so. I was kind of working out by myself in the garage, and I just went without chalk. I was like, I'll just, instead of cleaning chalk up all the time, I'll just go without it and, wipe my hands on my shorts when they feel a little sweaty or whatever. But no, I kind of love having chalk again. I kind of forgot how much I missed it. And I think it is a really cool product. I think maybe before we move on too fast, because I do have a lot of questions, where can people have access or maybe look up if, let's say somebody's sitting at home and they, are listening to this, could they do a quick Google search to maybe see exactly what the product looks like, Cassandra?
Yeah, so I do sell it on my website. So that is puregritfit.com. And then also social media, it's at grit_stick. You can find the Grit Stick, and also on Facebook if you just look up the Grit Stick. So yeah, those are some areas where you can check it out.
Awesome. And you're based out of Colorado, right?
Yes. So made here, it's a U.S. made product. That's a whole story in itself. Was originally, my first prototype was in China, but it is a U.S. made product and based out of Colorado.
You and
That's
Ted have
very
a
cool.
commonality in terms of, Ted, what are you doing?
Go ahead.
Whereas
Go ahead.
Ted and I like to step on each other's toes. Ted, get out of my
Cody,
way.
go ahead.
I was going to say, this was my segue to Ted. This is my segue to Ted because Ted's been running some businesses out of his entrepreneurial life as well. And I'd be curious to see, like, I don't know, have any idea about like product development and like the process for that. So I'd be curious to hear a little bit about that in terms of like, how do you go from like an idea to something very like tangible in your hands, whether that's like a prototype or now, you know, where you're at now, where you have like a full-fledged product.
Yeah, well, it was a process, I'll tell you that. So from product idea to actual product launch, having tangible product on the market was about 3 years in the making. So yes, I had this idea way prior to COVID. Just being with my background, having my nursing background, being a nurse, and then also a CrossFit coach is kind of how this whole idea came into place. I saw all the issues around the chalk and was like, I think after, looking into it and researching, I was like, there's nothing really out there like this. I want to be able to have my own sanitary personal chalk and be able to, travel with it and not have it to carry a Ziploc baggie and all that stuff. So anyways, from product idea to actual getting it out on the market was, like I said, quite the process. And it started with me just, testing out the market and, asking around within the fitness industry. Do you think this is, what do you think about this? Would you use this? And then going from there, getting with a product engineer who helped me make the CAD drawings. I told him my vision, what I wanted essentially the product to look like. And, we went through lots of different designs just because, and I know that you all know how chalk works. And, my original design was to have it more of like a chalk stick. So it like kind of pushed out like a push pop, Yeah, so that it was rather than a chalk block, it was a chalk stick that would push up and down. And just after, going through some trials and, you guys know how chalk crumbles, those chalk blocks and everything. So after a lot of different going back and forth with designing and ultimately came up with the method of the salt shaker method.
Yeah, I never really thought of putting it that way. That's good.
Yeah, shake it like a salt shaker. So quite literally. So, and, testing that out and really, it was like, oh, this actually works really well. And so after getting the designs and having those drawings done, through my the product engineer, he had lots of contacts within China, and she's like, let's, I'll just send him over the designs. Long story short, it took quite a while to get that prototype back from China, and once I did, it was actually about a year and a half later, I got it finally, and I just was not happy with it. I got that November 2019 and was, had a tangible product that I could launch on the market, but I was like, the quality of this, and I'm not working with China is a pain in the butt, and I really want to have a U.S. made product, and especially, looking at my target market and everything. And so from there, I took my prototype to machine shops around the area and, even sent them out of state to some other shops, and every single one of them told me the exact same thing. Like, why is this product so complicated for what you really want it to do? And, you know, because my original product is made by there's a product engineer that helped me design it. And so there was all these intricate, you know, all this tooling that was involved, and, you know, as far as like the machining and everything, it was very intensive. And each and every one of them told me, you know, if you want to have this product made here in the US, this exact prototype or something very similar to this prototype, it's going to cost you $80 to $90 per unit just for the tubing. Like, that doesn't include the caps and the chalk and everything else. And I was literally like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? And so from there, I went into redesigning the whole thing, and made it a lot simpler, a lot less tooling involved. I was thankful enough to have one of my dad's best friends, actually, from high school, owns his own machine shop. He has several patents himself, so he's very brilliant man. Helped me design it so that it was a lot less tooling involved, a lot less man hours, labor intensive, because that's really, you know, where your cost goes up. Mm-hmm. And so he helped me significantly with just allocating parts and, you know, redesigning things. And so now, crazy thing is that I was actually able to get the cost per unit, cut it in half from what my original prototype was costing me in China. That's
great, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just a little bit of the background behind it. It
sounds like it was pretty full of, you know, obstacles and things that you had to kind of pivot and reassess how it was gonna all go about. Now, how much input did you have in the original? Like, I mean, is your product, but you're working with like a product designer, or product manager, or engineer, whatever, you know, that person is then their title is, I guess. How did that relationship work back and forth? And I understand that maybe the original prototype was a little bit, you know, maybe too intricate, as you were saying. But how did that process look like? You know, putting actually into a physical item. You know, that this started as just like a little speck in your brain, you know.
So so I was like, how did I meet him, or how, like?
Yeah, I am curious as to how you met him, and then how was that relationship? You know, from my perspective, I just think it's really interesting. You know, whenever somebody, you know, takes that initiative and takes that first step, like, I'm going to create this product that doesn't exist and has never existed, and there's nothing really, really like it, and I'm going to make it.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people, and one of my buddies actually has started his own business, created a few of his own businesses. So I reached out to him, and he got me in contact with the product engineer. And so it was just kind of like they were friends and had worked together. And so that's how I met him. And then moving forward, you know, we met, I was actually living in Arizona at the time, and he was in Colorado. So every time I flew back home for like a family event or whatever, we would meet and actually go over designs, communicated a lot through email, but actually we're able to meet in person several times and discuss certain designs and, you know, go over, it was like, you know, and the thing was he was not a chalk user. So I really had to create, you know, he didn't necessarily understand it. It helped that his wife actually was involved in weightlifting, so she kind of helped him to envision certain things. But so creating that, you know, vision for him too. And so, yeah, so that was kind of how the relationship developed. And, you know, he helped a lot in the really helping with the original design of like the salt salt shaker method, you know, rather than the actual like chalk stick. And so, so he is included on the patent and everything. So as, you know, a co-designer. So, yeah.
So it sounds like you're about 4 years into this. Does that sound right?
Yep. Because I just had our first year anniversary, September 21st, launched September 21st last year. So
congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you have the product now.
So
and it's a great product. Like, what's the hustle look like? So yeah, like, what's the boots on the ground? Like, how are you getting this into people's hands? Like, spreading the word. What does that look like?
Oh, it's a process. You
Is
know,
this process, do you
it's
think,
been
more
wow.
difficult or easier than like the original design process so far?
You know, it's the world of entrepreneurship is literally, you know, it's a roller coaster, as you guys know, and yeah, I would say that there's just as many obstacles, if not more, now within, you know, now that I have, you would think like, okay, actually creating something, like that's got to be so hard compared to actually, you know, trying to sell it and get people, you know, to believe in the product or even just know about it, you know? So yeah, there's been plenty of obstacles. When I first launched, you know, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so great. Like, you know, first day launching the product, you know, build all this hype around it and, you know, sell a handful. And it's like, oh my gosh, this ride is just starting. This is just starting. So it's been, as far as, you know, the marketing and the actual selling of the product, it has been a crazy learning experience because, you know, I did, shortly after I launched, I dabbled in, you know, paid ads on Instagram and Facebook. I dabbled in that for just a month. I just did a month trial of that. And, you know, it was also poor timing because it was during, you know, in the midst of the pandemic, Black Friday, when you have all of these major companies too that haven't necessarily, you know, gone e-commerce, but with the pandemic, everybody's online now, and everybody's selling. So competing with that sort of ad space, you know, you have these big companies spending, you know, up to $4,000, $10,000 a day on ad spend. So it's like my little $20, $30 is not going to be able to compete with that. So literally did like a month trial of the paid ads and even had like a marketing guy help me with all the SEO stuff and targeting and blah, 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 all of that. And sold one unit from all of that. And so I quickly decided, pivoted, and was like, okay, I can't rely on, you know, paid advertising at this point. I just, you know, being a small startup, it's not realistic. And so I have been focusing since then really on just guerrilla marketing, doing, you know, through influencers and affiliates. I started an affiliate program and also through events. You know, I've been doing CrossFit competitions, setting up booths there, and went to the CrossFit Games, which was amazing. And through, you know, you, Cody, and, you know, just connecting, making connections and networking. And it truly is amazing. When they say your network is your net worth, that has not been, that has been so evident since starting this whole journey.
It's like so powerful to think about, like, or even reminding yourself maybe that if you just tell one person, that person might tell two, and then you have that branching effect, right? And we all have that kind of visualization of that in our heads, and you kind of forget about that sometimes. Like, man, like, what's one person? Or like, I even think about, like, you know, you say hi to one person, and, you know, maybe that makes their day. but that could just be a continuum of person to person to person, and it has that same branching effect. So something simple like that, but obviously on a larger, more serious scale in terms of running a business, that guerrilla marketing is very powerful, especially, starting local and then maybe branching out from there. Did you really push? So you're in Colorado. Where are you at in Colorado?
Just north of Denver. So Loveland, Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah, Ted's pretty familiar with the area.
So Cassandra, do you mind you coach at a gym right now?
I am not coaching at a gym right now. I've been gym hopping.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, I just with trying to grow and scale the business right now, I gotta.
Probably makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably does make sense. Get yourself out there, because like your product is. I'm sure you're well aware of this. Your product is somewhat you also, right? If people like Cassandra, they're gonna probably be more likely to purchase her product.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I think you're probably maybe doing the right thing there too. I owned Fort Collins CrossFit for 3-4 years. And,
that's what Cody was saying.
Yeah, so my wife and I, we just moved to Northwest Iowa here a year and a half ago now. But what's kind of you said you've learned so much throughout this entire process. What's maybe the biggest takeaway, the biggest thing that you've learned so far? Maybe it was even something that you weren't expecting to learn. And then what would you maybe share with somebody who's maybe kind of trying to start their own business also, or maybe wanting to develop their own product, and maybe that's the same thing, like what you've learned and what you would share, or maybe it's a different thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've learned so much. I could talk about this for the next 3 hours, but greatest thing, especially if you're wanting to start something, launch something, throw perfection out the window. Just get that idea out of your head. Perfection only causes, in my opinion, procrastination and paralysis. And I wish that was something, that is something that I have really learned over this whole process, because it has kept me from, there was so many times that it kept me from, pursuing certain opportunities. And since I've taken on that mentality, it's just what's the worst somebody is going to say? Yeah. No. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Somebody's not going to like the product. What's the worst thing that's, and so it's just accepting that and knowing that, not everyone is, you can't please everyone. And yeah, just that, it's not going to be perfect. There's always room for improvement. I'm always looking for ways to improve the quality and of both the product and services that I provide. So it's knowing that it's going to be a learning game, and that your mistakes that's how you learn. That's how you learn, and that's how you grow, and that's how you scale. So that is probably one of the greatest things that I have taken away from this whole process.
I can totally.
It's like continual refinement.
I think I'm very guilty of that too. I'm like, I'm not ready to take on this challenge. I need to prep more. I need to whatever. And then, like you said, you can just sit on your hands, and you'll never ever probably feel ready to attack whatever it is you need to, challenge yourself with. And I'm a big believer in it. Like, we all have some of that, figure it the F out is, that's just kind of that's a talent too, right? When you're sometimes, Cody and I talked about this a little bit leading up to our event. I think Cody put in so many hours and was so ready for it just to come. Like the event that we worked on, the IC Weightlifting Summit, it comes to a point where it's I've put in the time, I just needed to be here and know that things aren't probably going to be running at a 100%, but when those challenges come up, you just assess and you figure out the best way to kind of make it work, and you make it work. And so I empathize with that a lot.
Well, I also knew I could rely on Ted in the event too. So when Ted came out and he's like, what else we need to do? I'm like, I don't need to do anything else. You're here. I'm good now. And Julia too. I'm like, I knew I could rely on them to if I gave them responsibilities, things that I wasn't good at or didn't have time for, I knew they would be able to handle it. So I think that's part of why I was like ready for it to just start because I was like, I got my homies here.
No, and I'm glad you said that for a couple of reasons. One, because it makes me feel good about myself. But two, I was actually going to lead into the, question with Cassandra. Is it just you, Cassandra? Do you have a team that you're working with now? Who's all on staff for you at, is the name of your business Pure Grit Fit?
Pure Grit Fitness, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who's all on staff there with you?
Me, myself, and I.
Perfect.
I'm a one-woman show at this point. I do have, so all my family lives out here, which is fantastic. So when I have, a pretty large order or, getting ready for Black Friday and all of that stuff, my number one employee is my mother.
So moms are good for it.
Yeah, my mom. She's gotten pretty quick at assembling those grit sticks. So, so I definitely do have help with the part, like the assembly process and getting them actually put together. But otherwise, everything else, is me. Everything when it comes to the marketing, the social media, the going to the events, shipping out the product, printing out the labels, shipping them out. Yeah.
And you might not feel like this every day, but some days you probably are understanding, your business probably is very much still in the infancy, stages. And,
yes.
And so it's probably good to have somebody that you can trust, and that somebody is me, myself, and I, in your perspective, and mom, right? So that's great.
Yep.
You kind of alluded to this before when you talked about, the challenge that, marketing and all that brings up. Is that the biggest obstacle you think, to taking your business to the next level? Or if not, what do you think is, if this happens, it would potentially, really be great for my business? What is that it?
Yeah, so I think just getting the word out there, that is the hardest thing. There's so much noise out there, and there's so much, so much competition within, the marketing space that has been the most difficult thing, I think, for growing and scaling my business. It's just, and also not relying on like one thing too, not one source of advertising, or having multiple streams. So that's hard too, is like keeping up with everything, running all of the social media and the reaching out to gyms, and then setting up everything, the travel for going to these events. And so it's really comes down to time. Never enough time in a day. But so I think that too. And just me personally, having a very type A personality, and very controlling personality, being willing to allocate those things and kind of, let go of a little bit of that, so that I can spread myself in more ways, and be, handle more of the relationships and creating the relationships, and not, have to be, oh shoot, I haven't posted on social media yet today. I need to get on and do some interacting on social media, and so I think that has been the biggest obstacle.
Yeah, that I'm with you. Again, I empathize with that also, and Cody knows that. Whether it was for me at Fort Collins CrossFit or Cody at Practical Wellness, like it really is all you, right? You are the business. All the hats are on your head, and so it's understandable, especially like you're saying, you need somebody that you can trust. You need to be in that position, especially early on when you're building the foundation of what you hope is a super successful business. You need to have the right foundation built there.
It has to be really solid.
Again, I have no doubt. I think and I think it's interesting too. People are so hard to kind of, people are so in their ways. Like, I've always had a chalk bucket in the gym. Like, that's what we use.
Yes.
That's what I need to use. Like, that's not broken. Why would I fix it? But then you can, it's hard to explain to people like, oh no, it actually is kind of broken, because it makes a mess and it's not as convenient. And it probably, I mean, we wasted more chalk in my gym than anything. Like, you know, you set out a couple blocks, and then I've got a 12:15 class coming in. There's no chalk in the chalk buckets. We've got 4 chalk buckets. I put a piece of chalk in each one, and then next morning I come in and it's all gone. I'm like, how can we go through 4 blocks of chalk in a half a day? And I was always just like, what's going on here?
Yep. And that's I love that you bring that up, because that's been a huge obstacle too, especially within the CrossFit community. I've noticed with the weightlifting and powerlifting, they absolutely, they're like all gung ho. They're like, oh, this is awesome. Like, we can, you know, chalk our backs with this. Like, it's like, which I didn't even know was a thing. I'm learning so much. Yeah. But anyways, within the CrossFit community, it's like, oh yeah, no, we like, they're like, I've gotten this so much, like, good luck on Shark Tank. Like, that's an awesome product. Like, great, like, idea. That's so cool. Good luck on Shark Tank. But yeah, we like our buckets. It's like, okay. But then, like, people that actually, like, will go out and, like, try and give it a try are like, how is this one little, like, this refill lasting me 3 months? It's like, it's because you're not wasting it. It's not going everywhere, and you're actually, like, and they're like, well, we don't have to chalk up near as much, and we're not, it's nice because we're not having to run to the chalk bucket in the middle of our WOD, because you can just set it right next to your station, and, you know, I actually have chalk when I need it. It's like, so it is getting people out of their, like, just to get out of their stuck ways has been a very big obstacle as well.
Yeah, and I've like really enjoyed it, and I don't know if we've talked about it, but it looks cool. Like, they're cool colors. I got a blue that matches my logo perfectly. Point, yeah. Like, it's perfect. Yeah. It is. It's much. It's quite an upgrade from a chalk bucket or a Ziploc baggie, I will say. We used to use like these Menards chalk buckets when we first took over the gym, and they were like the worst thing ever. I'm like, why do we have these Menards chalk buckets that just look like trash?
They tip so easy.
Hanging out. Yeah. Someone's like, a bar bounces just right and it knocks it over.
Yeah,
I'm just
and the
like
nice thing too. Right, mopping. Oh my God. Or, you know, the worst is just when they literally, you know, you have a member set the chalk block on the J hook, and then it knocks off and then breaks into all those little pieces, and then everybody just steps on it.
No thanks.
Yep.
Didn't allow that. Not in my class.
I always had a strict rule too. No chalk on a J hook. Yeah. What? Tell me more. You said you have an affiliate program set in place, and there might be some gym owners listening to this. Or what does that all include, Cassandra?
Yeah. So so I do have a wholesale program. So have wholesale all set up, as well as just started doing some customization, which is really cool. They've been turning out really well. Just actually did a collaboration with Fit Aid.
Oh, that's awesome, yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
So they got a bunch of sticks, personalize them, customize them, and they're sending them out to actually all of their affiliates that they work with. So
Great.
so that was pretty cool. And then worked with some gyms, gotten their logo or, you know, their name on them. So it just makes it a little bit more personal and just a really unique way to really rep your gym. So that's been really fun. And then I do have an individual affiliate program too. So for athletes, you know, and just anybody really, you know, I have some really loyal customers that have been with me for a while and just, you know, post about my product all the time because they just love it. And like, hey, why not? I should start an affiliate program so that they can get paid. Like, how awesome is that? Like, they're doing this for free. Like, let me actually like compensate them for it. So I started an individual affiliate program, like so through Affiliately or whatever. That's a whole nother, that's e-commerce stuff. But anyways, started an affiliate program for individuals, and then also, do the wholesaling for gyms or, supplement companies or, fitness equipment product, if you sell fitness equipment. I do wholesaling to a few companies, one that sells gymnastics equipment, one that sells adaptive training equipment. So that's been really fun, and I've met some amazing people through just networking.
Would they just email you directly? Would they go through the website or through social media?
Anyway, so you can email through my through the website, puregritfit.com. There's a place you can contact me, or most people these days just do social media. Find me on social media.
But again, that's great because you run the website, you run social media.
Yep, it all comes to me.
You're the person, so you get it all. Yeah. That's perfect. I think it's really, really a cool product. I mean, I definitely endorse it. Like I said, I'm pretty selective with what I use and what I like to use, and I hadn't really used chalk for a year just because I didn't want to clean up the mess. I have 2 kids, and I'm always kind of in a hurry, and so now I appreciate just like keeping my chalk in this little cylinder, for lack of a better term, and it hangs on my wall. It's got a little carabiner thing, and I just take it off, throw it on, and I think it's really, really cool. We unfortunately have to run, but we appreciate you coming on with us, Cassandra. Cody, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I think it's a great product. I've been taking it to teach my classes. So I have an intro to weight training class, and the students have been digging it. Awesome. We were stealing the Olympic lifting club's "Don't Tell Anybody" chalk for a while. It's like, this is actually a really useful thing to have. I can take it with me in my backpack, and so I think it's great. And we love having you on the podcast and spreading the message, because I think it is a game changer for sure.
Awesome. Well, again, I just can't thank you both for your time and for the help spreading the word. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, one last time, Cassandra, where can people go to find out more about Gritstick?
So again, my website, puregritfit.com, and also social media platforms. Instagram is @grit_stick, and Facebook is just the Gritstick.
All right. Thanks again, Cassandra, for coming on. Cody and I will talk to you guys next time.